Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rule as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Ayman. The title of the video is America is Making a Deathbed. Right, and pretty much, what is it? The Congress has signed, the bill basically merging the military of Israel and America in one way, shape, or form. And what this is showing to the world who's watching as Israel and America tries their best to, save themselves and accomplish something is that they're working together. Right. And that's why you have Jeremiah 50 and 45 says, therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, that he have taken against Babylon, right, which is America, and his purposes that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Least of the flock is the small hatters. It is Israel. Right. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right. And American Israel will be destroyed, right, with fire, right, by the enemy. Right. And that's starting with Russia. Russia's going to, have many people join unto him, right, unto Russia, and they're going to come against America and Israel. All right. And that's found in Ezekiel 38. And we already see in the present time that the small hatters are, making America go to war for them. Right. This whole thing started with the Greater Israel Project. And even before that, it talks about the 7 wars that they wanted to knock down in like 5 years and ending with Iran. All these different things that has come to light. It goes back to these small hatters dragging America out. And pretty much this last thing they're doing here is the deathbed, because they're fighting Iran now, and now Russia and China will not let Iran fall. All right, so with Israel and America merging militaries, when you pick the target, you pick both of them basically,
The House went and did it. They passed the NDAA, which
Right, this is Kim Iverson. She does good videos.
The House went and did it. They passed the NDAA, which enshrined into law the U.S. and Israeli militaries merging together. There is some confusion on the final vote. It's really kind of unclear. It looks like Thomas Massie was the only Republican to vote no on the final passage. However, other reporting published shortly afterward, including The Guardian, states that 7 Republicans voted against the final passage, and six Democrats actually voted for it. So it was almost a completely partisan vote where most Democrats said no to the bill. Most Republicans said yes to the bill. Some Democrats voted yes on it. A very small group of Republicans voted no to this. The Democrats, by the way, who voted no to this bill, it wasn't because we were going to merge our militaries together with Israel. That's not what shocked them, of course. It was everything else. It was just the, they cited everything else, but they never brought up the merging with the Israeli militaries. That's something that, believe me, if Democrats were in charge, they would have baked it in there just as easily, and they would have passed it just as fast. So this is a sad, dark day. I think that all of these people that have voted yes, most of them Republicans, have proven to be traitors to the country, and I don't use that word lightly. I do think they are traitors to the country. They knew about this provision. They put it in anyway. They voted for it, knowing that it would end U.S. sovereignty. And this is, to me, the most consequential. This is the most consequential thing that has happened in the history of our government, in my opinion. This is the single most consequential thing. This is the one thing that hands over control of our nation to a foreign terrorist country. But even if it wasn't a terrorist country, just a foreign country, the founding fathers would be rolling in the current House version, which is now Section 219. It was Section 224. So AIPAC says that the current House version, which is now Section 219, it was Section 224. The clearest wording says it would direct the Pentagon to designate an executive agent to synchronize, expand, and accelerate U.S.-Israel cooperation in defense technology research and development, and related areas such as integration and industrial cooperation. AIPAC's memo says that the initiative would deepen U.S.-Israel cooperation in counter-drone technology, missile and air defense, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity, and that it would synchronize, expand, and accelerate that cooperation through a Pentagon executive agent. It also says the provision does not create joint command structures or transfer any decision-making power to Israel. It doesn't need to. We don't actually control France's military or Germany's military. We're not the commanders of Germany's military. We don't need to be. We command the equipment. If you can command the equipment, you command them. What are they going to do about it? The AIPAC memo explicitly rejects the claim that the provision merges the U.S. and Israeli militaries. It says the measure is a coordination mechanism for defense technology cooperation, not joint command or merged force. Again, when you hold, it's like, okay, you give your kid an allowance and you're not telling them exactly what they have to do with their money, but you certainly can because you're the one who gives them the allowance. So, you give them the appearance of making their own decisions with their money, but it's not really their money. You're the one who gave it to them. So it's that same sort of thing. So they're trying to say, look, it's not really merging or, making them one. That's not what it does. But in actuality, the section does say, this is what the section says. Well, no, actually, let me just read you a little bit more from AIPAC because I love to see what their bullshit is. They said that the United States, this is from their press release. They said the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative would deepen partnerships between the United States and Israel in defense technology, focusing on areas where both countries face common security challenges, including counter-drone technology, missile and air defense, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. The United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative advances America's national security interests by directing the Pentagon to designate an executive agent to synchronize, expand, and accelerate U.S.-Israel cooperation in defense technology, research, and development. It does not create new programs or authorize additional funding. It does not create joint command structures or transfer any decision-making power to Israel. It establishes a coordination mechanism for defense technology cooperation, formalizing and strengthening existing cooperation. Existing congressional oversight of arms sales will not be affected in any way. They won't need to sell. It's a cooperation. Now the Israelis are going to be creating our missile and air defense, our counter-drone technology, our artificial intelligence, and our cybersecurity. And when they're the developers of the weapons, and the Israelis like to bake in things into their weapons and phones and pagers like bombs, maybe microphones, right? But the reality is that the NDAA does, in fact, hand over that. It claims that there is going to be, it says word for word in the actual text, identify jointly developed or Israeli origin technologies with operational value that could be integrated into U.S. military systems and programs of record. So this is not, our scientists and their scientists are going to get together and develop really cool things. No, it explicitly says, don't listen to the AIPAC bullshit. The actual bill says, identify jointly developed or Israeli origin technologies with operational value that could be integrated into U.S. military systems and programs of record.
So even with that, we see the war going on with Russia and Ukraine, right? And a lot of times we're seeing now that Russia is trying to attack or thinking about attacking NATO because a lot of the weapons in Ukraine are being made by NATO. And then NATO is, attacking places, So it's kind of like the same situation. Now that you have, Israel, making or going to be making weapons and pretty much, the militaries will be merged. However they want to phrase it, we see that Israel controls America, so if they try to strike Israel, they're going to strike America too because they're merged. You know, and that's pretty much all I got. You can watch a video and check it out, or you can look up this information. But just like she said in the beginning, this basically like this is the worst thing that could have happened. You know, and this is just another nail to the coffin. All right, for America. Jeremiah 49:20, basically the same precept, says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Bashim that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right. So Israel and America will be destroyed together. And this is another reason why, with them merging their militaries, right? So that's all I got. You can go ahead and check that video out. Lord willing, you edify from the lesson. Shalom to the hopeful elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.